Welcome to the Ultimate jQuery course. In this course, you will learn everything about jQuery, how to add animation using jQuery, how to call API using Ajax, and much more. After completing this course, you can immediately start using jQuery for your websites, and you will learn these amazing animation tricks which nowadays modern websites have. I am very excited about this course and hope you are too. So let's dive into this. So what is jQuery? jQuery is lightweight JavaScript library for easily access DOM elements and add action to it. Some developers says jQuery is writeless and do more type of thing. In simple words, jQuery is the shortcut way to write JavaScript code. For example, if you want to add a click event listener for one button, then you can write this same code with jQuery in single line. That's the power of jQuery. jQuery library has many features like DOM manipulation, style manipulation, event listeners, effects, animations, Ajax for making HTTP requests, and much more. There are a lot of JavaScript libraries, but jQuery is the most popular and best library for JavaScript. And if you are working on almost any website projects, jQuery is very useful for that. There are many big companies which use jQuery for their websites, like Netflix, Google, Microsoft, Reddit, Stack Overflow, and many more. So after learning jQuery, you can add jQuery in your tech stack. That will also help you in getting the job or become a better web developer. Let's quickly set up our environment for this course. So in the description box, you get resources zip file. Download it and unzip it. In this resources folder, you get this jQuery starter folder. Open that and open that folder in VS Code. Now here is a one index.html and one script.js file. I link this script.js file with our HTML file. So let's run this HTML file with live server so we don't need to refresh our browser for each time. If you don't have this extension, then I suggest you to install that extension. Now let's open console and see it's working. Now first of all, let's see how to add jQuery in our HTML, CSS and JavaScript project. So there are two ways to add jQuery in our project. We can download the jQuery file or we can use CDN link. You can use whatever you want to, it's totally up to you. First of all, let's see how to download the jQuery file. So head over to jQuery.com and click on this download jQuery button. Now if you want to see code, means what is inside the file, then click on development jQuery version. And if you don't want to see that code, then you can use compressed jQuery version. Both codes are same, but the difference is compressed version file is smaller than the development version file, because in compressed versions, they remove all unnecessary spaces. So that's why we can't read code in that file. So I copy here compressed version's code, and in VS Code, we create new file called jQuery.js and paste that code into that file. Save this, and now into our HTML file, in the end of body and before our this script tag, we add one more script tag and in source jQuery.js. And that's it, we install our jQuery. Now let's see the second way, which is the more simple and easiest way. Back to our browser and scroll down on this page at other CDN section. Here we get Google CDN. Click on it and copy this latest 3x snippet. Now back to VS Code and I comment out this script tag and after that paste that CDN link. If you don't want to use first way, then you can remove this old script tag. I will keep that for your reference. And that's it, we successfully installed jQuery in our project. So as I told you, jQuery is very useful to access DOM elements and performing actions for them. So here is a basic syntax of jQuery for access DOM elements. Don't confuse about that, it is really very simple. Let me show you. So this syntax has three main parts. First one is this $. This $, is assigned to access jQuery from CDN or if you download that jQuery file locally. After that, we have selector, which is used to define the element or elements. For example, we write $P, then it will select all paragraph element in our HTML file. And at last, we have action, which is the action we want to perform. For example, here we simply add hide. So hide is the action we want to perform for all paragraph elements. So just this piece of code hides all paragraph elements on our web page. You can see how simple and easy to hide all paragraph elements. So that's why developers and big companies like jQuery so much. Selectors are a very important part of jQuery because it is used to select HTML elements from web page based on their tag name, class name, ID, attributes and attributes value. Let's see how we can do that practically. So first of all, in index.html file, we add one paragraph tag and inside it just add random text with lorem5. And at the beginning, paragraph 1. Now I duplicate this paragraph 2 more times and change this to paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Save this and take a look. We have 3 paragraphs. Now in script.js file, we write jQuery access variable, which is $, and then in parentheses, we add P in double quotes. Now at the end, we have to add action. Let's say hide. So you know what will happen when we save the file. Write your answer in the comment box so I can see how many people are learning with me. Now save this and see our all P tags are hide. So that's how we select all paragraph elements. If we write here h1, that will select all h1 tags from web page. Now in the HTML file, I add class in the second paragraph called second. Now in jQuery, at the place of P, we add dot second. This will select all elements which have class second, which is our second paragraph. Save this and see, our second paragraph is now hidden. If we add here P dot second, then it will select all paragraph which class name is second. It works similar to CSS selectors. Now for the third paragraph, we add here ID third. Now can you guess how we can select element by their ID? If we use dot for class name, then we use here has for ID. Simple as that. So write has third. Save this and take a look. Paragraph with ID third is hidden. So you can see how easy it is to select elements in jQuery. In JavaScript, we have to write document.getElement by class name or by ID. Now there are many custom selectors in jQuery. I don't want to bore you by showing you each selector individually. So here is a table of selectors. And in the description column, you can read its description. It is very simple and easy. If you have some doubts, then you can ask me in the comment section. So events are very important part of any web page. It is basically a response for the user's actions. For example, on YouTube website, you press F to see video in full screen or click on play button to play the video. So this pressing key and click are events. So there are 4 types of DOM events available in jQuery: mouse events, keyboard events, form events, and document or window events. So let's first check mouse events. Note that I am not showing you all events because it's a little bit boring and time consuming. We will see events which are commonly useful for us. If you want to check all events, you can check official documentation. So first event is click. So in HTML file, I add one button, let's say hide, and give this button ID called btn hide. Now here, what I want to do is, when we click on this hide button, we want to hide this second paragraph. So in the script.js file, we first select the hide button, so $has btn underscore hide. Now here we add dot and click event. Now in this click method, we have to add callback function which will run on this click event. So function, and inside this function, we write $.second.hide. Basically, this expression means when user click on this btn hide button, then run this function, and that function will hide the second paragraph. Save this and take a look. Click on hide button and paragraph 2 is hidden. You can see how simple it is to add click event. Now for mouse, we have these many events. You can try them by yourself. Now keyboard has only 3 events: key press, key up, and key down. So here on this web page, when I press H key, then this second paragraph will hide. And then if we press S key, then this second paragraph will visible. So for that, we add here dollar and parenthesis. Now on which element we want to add this key event? We want to add this event on full web page. So I add here body, now dot key down, and we pass here function. Now our task is we have to identify if user press H key or S key. So if you do that before in JavaScript, then you know every event has its event object, and we get that event object as the parameter of this callback function. So we write here event, and this event has method called which will return the ASCII value of key. Or we can use here event.code, that will give us the key name. But I like this which method. So simply write console.log event.which. Save this and press H. See, it shows 72, which is the ASCII value of H. And then press S and it returns 83. So back to our script file, we add here condition if event.which equals to 72, then $.second.hide. After that, we add one more if event.which equals to 83, then $.second.show. Save this and take a look. Press H and it's hide, and press S and it's visible. See how easy it is with jQuery. Now what if at the place of key down we add key up? Save this and take a look. Now I press H key and I don't release it. And now I release it, and paragraph is hidden. So when we press the key and after releasing it, key up event will run. For 99% of time, we will use only key down event for keyboard. Now we have form events, which is very useful when we are working with form. So the syntax of all events are the same for every event. First, you have to define a selector, and then dot event name, and then add callback function which will run on that action. Simple as that. You can try these events by yourself. If I explain this all events one by one, then this tutorial will not complete in 2 hours. So try it by yourself and if you have some doubts, then you can ask me in the comment section. Hide and show method is already we have seen in last lesson. These are the easiest way to hide and show the elements on our web page. Now in the hide and show method, we can also specify the time for completing that action. Let's say we want to hide this paragraph in 2 seconds. So in this hide function, we pass here time in milliseconds, which is 2000. Save this and take a look. When we click on this button, then it takes 2 seconds to hide. Here we can also pass the callback function for this hide effect, which will run after this effect will complete. Let me show you what I means. So after time, I pass here callback function, and inside this callback function, I write console.log task completed. Save this and take a look. Now I click on this hide button and see after our animation completed, then this task completed print in console. So in that callback function, you can hide other elements also, which will hide after completing this animation. Now there are one more effect, which is toggle. So I change this hide effect to toggle, and also in HTML file, change the button text to toggle. Save this and take a look. So when we click on this toggle button, if our paragraph is visible, then it will hide, and if it's not visible, then it will show. Simple as that. Now before we go to next topic, I want to give you one very important tip for jQuery. So whenever you use jQuery or JavaScript, write your code in document.ready function. This function will make sure our full content are loaded. So in jQuery, we can write $document.ready, and inside this we pass function which runs after our document is ready. Or we can write $function. This is the shorthand for document.ready. But I like to write this first one because if after some day I return to this code, then I might forget about this shorthand. But you can use whatever you want to. It's totally right. Now move our all code inside this function. Perfect. In jQuery, we have 4 types of fade effects which are used to fade visibility of element. Fade in, fade out, fade toggle, and fade to. Now these effects are pretty easy. Fade out is used to fade out element. Let me show you. So at the place of this toggle effect, I just add fade out and remove these arguments for this. By the way, if you don't remove them, it will also work because these arguments are almost work for all effects. Save this and take a look. Click on this button and see the second paragraph is fade out. Now fade in is for fade in effect, and fade toggle is pretty useful for toggle fading effect. So at the place of this fade out, we add fade toggle. Save this and take a look. Click on button and see fade out and fade in effects are running. Now fade to effect is used to handle fading value which is between 0 to 1. 0 means 0 opacity and 1 means full opacity. So here write fade to, and in the function we have to first pass speed of that effect, which is, let's say, slow, and then we pass opacity, which is, let's say, 0.5. Save this and take a look. Click on button and see paragraph is half visible. Now let's talk about slide effects. There are only 3 slide effects. Let's see all effects at once. So I just replace this fade effect to slide toggle and remove these arguments. Save this and take a look. Click on this button and see, first it will slide up and then it will slide down. Here you can also pass speed in milliseconds, slow or fast. This slide toggle will be useful for sidebar effect. Now let's talk about Animate method in jQuery. Animate method is used to create custom animations. That method has all same properties like other effects, speed and callback. But in Animate, we have to pass object of CSS properties at the first argument. Let me show you. So here, I add one div with class box and add some dummy text here. And I want to add some styles for this box. So after title, we add style tag, and for box, we add width to 100 pixel, height to 100 pixel, and background color to tomato. Save this and take a look. See, we get tomato box. Now when I click on this button, I want to change this box width, height and font size of this text. So for that, we use animate property. So let's remove this effect and write here $.box.animate. Now at the first position, we have to pass object of CSS properties which we want to change. So add object, and first we want to change width colon in double quotes 200 pixel. Now to add multiple properties, we have to use comma, just like we do in JavaScript object. Now height to 200 pixel, comma. Now if we have property name in two words like font size, then we have to convert that in camel case. So remove this dash and make this as capital and 20 pixel. Save this and take a look. Click on this button and see width, height and font size is changed. Now sometimes we want to add 200 pixel in the current width. We can also do that in this method. So here I write plus equals to 200 pixel. Save this and see we get increased 200 pixel in current width. Now as other effects, we can also pass here speed and callback function. So here I write slow, save this and take a look. And see, we get this slow animation. In jQuery, we have some methods to manipulate DOM elements, like we can change the text for HTML elements, change the attribute values, etc. So there are three methods for that. .text, which is used to get or set the text content of selected elements. .html, which is used to get or set the content with HTML markup of selected elements. .val, which is used to get or set the value of form fields like input text, selected checkbox value, etc. Let's see that practically. So here, I want to get the text of the second paragraph. So in the button click, I just write $.second.text and then wrap this with the console.log. Save the changes and take a look. Click on this button and see we get the text inside of this second paragraph. Now we can also set the text whatever we want in this second paragraph. So for that, I write here $.second.text, and here in this text method, I just pass another text like this is jQuery tutorial. Save the changes and see, when we click on this button, text will change. Now we have second method called HTML, which is very similar to this text method. So in the second paragraph, I just add here bold tag for this paragraph too. Now in the script.js file, I duplicate this console line and replace this text with HTML. Save this and click on this button. Sorry, we have to comment out this line. Now save the file and see, here we get the text with HTML elements. So text method will return only the text and HTML method return the text with HTML elements. Simple as that. Now can you guess how we can set the HTML as we set the text? Right, we just write here HTML, and for confirmation, I add here M tag for emphasize. Save this and see, we get text in italic. So this is pretty easy. Now what if I want to get the value of HTML element, let's say this button. So here I write has btn hide. And after that, we write .val method for getting the value of this element. Save this, and in the button, we have to add value property. So value equals to btn. Save this, and see, we get here btn. Now if we want to change this value, then we can also change it by passing value here in val method. Now there are one more method for attributes. So if we want to get or set specific attribute value, then we use attribute method. Let's see the example. So for getting the attribute value, we have to pass here attribute name, and if we want to set the value of that attribute, then we can pass here in second argument. Simple as that. So in jQuery, we can easily add, remove and toggle classes. In short, we can manipulate CSS in an easy way. And it is very helpful for creating animations. So here, let's say we want to add class box for our second paragraph. So on this button click, we write $.second.add class and pass here the class name in double quotes. Save this, and when we click on this button, see, box class is added. Let's verify that in inspect. So right click on the box and go to inspect. See, box class is added here. Now you already know what remove class method will do. It will remove the class. But here is a one useful method, which is toggle class method. So at the place of this add class, I add toggle class. Now this toggle class method is basically toggle the class which we pass between double quotes. Save this and take a look. See, when we click on button, box class is added, and then if we click again, then it removes the box class. This method is useful in many places like sidebar icon. When we click on hamburger icon, then it will add class show, which will show the sidebar. And then we click again, it will hide the sidebar. Simple technique but very useful. Now let me show you something really cool. Here I add style for class second. Let's say width to 300 pixel and transition all for all properties 0.5 second ease in and out. And in box style, just remove this height which is not necessary and add here important for width. Save this and take a look. Click on the button and see, we have this soft animation. This is because of this transition property. So if you want to add or remove the class for animation, then you can use this transition property which will add soft animation for you. These tricks I learned very late in my web development career, and I wish I know that for my first projects, and that's why I am showing you these tricks. Now we have one more method for modify CSS, which is CSS method. It is similar to Animate method which we showed previously. CSS method is used to get or set the CSS properties of selected element. Let's say we want to know the background color of this div. So I write here div.box.css, and here we pass our property name, which is background-color. So this expression will return the background color of box. So let's store this in variable called color and simply console.log this color. Save the changes and see, here we get this color. Now let's go even one step further. So now I want to set the same color for this third paragraph text. So here I write $third.css and which property we want to set. Right, it is color. And whatever value we want to set, we have to pass it at the second argument. Let's say we want to set this to red. So we write here like this. Now we want to set this color, which we get from this box. So we just write here color. Save this and see, we change text color to this box background color. Now you might think how we can set here multiple CSS properties. So for that, we have to pass properties in the object, same as we write in CSS. But we have to write properties in double quotes. Let me show you. So here, I've wrapped this property with curly brackets, and instead of this comma, we write colon. Now, if we want to pass second property, then we add here comma, and in double quotes, I add background-color, comma, black. Note that we can write here property name same as we write in CSS, but in Animate method, we have to write that in camel case, and that's why developers use this CSS property more often. Save this and see, we get our style here. Form events are also important in jQuery, which you can use for handling the form. So there are many form events, but these are the events which use most while we are dealing with any kind of form. If you want to know all events, then you can use the jQuery documentation. But generally, you only need these 4 form events: focus, blur, change, submit. So I just remove all HTML code for the fresh and add one form with 2 inputs and 2 radio buttons for gender and 1 submit button. Now let's see form events. So first one is focus, which will trigger when we have focus on something. Let's say we select this input box. You can see this outline, which is the sign of focus. And when we click outside of this input, then it removes from focus. So in the script.js file, I write $input for selecting all inputs and then add focus event for those. Now we add here function which will run on focus event. And in that, I want to change the background color of that specific input which is in focus. One suggestion, don't use arrow function syntax here because jQuery has some issue with that syntax. So I am changing the background color here, but you can do whatever you want to. There are no limits for that. Now write here $this for selecting the current input element. And add here CSS method and inside it background color, comma tomato. Save the changes and take a look. See, when we focus on input, their background color is changing. Now I want to make that again white when that input is out of focus. For that, we have blur event. So I duplicate this code and change this focus to blur and pass here color to empty. Save this and see, when we focus on that, its background color will change and then again back to normal. Now let's see change event. This event will trigger when value of something will change. So I duplicate this code one more time, and at the place of blur, I add change console.log $this.val. Save this and see, when we change this radio button value, we get that value. And if we write something in text box and then we remove focus from that input, then input value will change and then we can see that value here. Now let's see the submit event. So for submit event, we have to give our form ID. Let's say registration form. Now in the script.js file, we add $has registration form and then we add submit event. Now pass function which will run on submit. In this function, I simply console.log form successfully submit. Save the changes and take a look. When we click on this button, we can see that message in console for just a millisecond and then our page refreshed. So let's stop this. So in this submit event, we get here event object at first parameter, and in that object we have one method called prevent default, which will prevent the default behavior of submit event, which is refreshing the page. So write event.prevent default, save these and take a look. See, we can see here form submitted. So these are these form events in jQuery, which will help you in form handling. So before we start learning Ajax, let's understand what is Ajax and why we need it. So Ajax stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. In simple words, Ajax is about loading data in the background and display it on the web page without reloading the whole page. Many popular applications like Gmail, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and many more using Ajax for loading data in the background and update that existing data. If you notice, once you load these websites, even if you post something or someone sent you email, then it will not load the entire website. That can be done by Ajax. So Ajax in itself a little complex, but we can also use Ajax in jQuery in very simple manner. So jQuery provides several methods for Ajax functionality. First one is load, which is used to load data from server in HTML content. Second, get, which is used to load data from the server using HTTP GET request. And post, which is used to send and load data from the server using HTTP post request. Let's start with method number 1, which is load. So here I remove this previous code in JS file. We don't need that anymore. And also from HTML file, and add here just one div with id output. Now I create new file called sample.txt, and inside it I add some text like this is sample text for Ajax in jQuery. Save this. Now in this output div, I want to display this text we write in this sample.txt file. So in script.js file, we write $has output in which we want to display the text. .load. Now at the first parameter, we will add here our file URL, which is sample.txt. Then if we want to send data with this request, then we can pass that data in second parameter. But here we don't want to pass data, so we don't write anything. Now at last we have function with 3 parameters: response, status text, and xhr. Let's console each of them and see what we get. Save this and take a look. See, here we get our text, and in console, in response, we get our text in status text, we get success because we successfully get that data. And in XHR, which is XML HTTP request object. So we can do something like this. Here I pass condition if status text equals to success, then alert success. And if status text equals to error, then alert error plus xhr dot status text. Save this and see, we get here success. Now I make one typo in file name and then save this. See, we get here error not found. So that's how we get data using load method. Now let's see how to use get method. So I comment out this code and after that I write $.get. Now as first argument, we have to pass our API URL. So back to browser and search for JSON placeholder. Open this link, scroll down and here you get API for testing. I want to get this user's data. So I copy this URL. Now for second parameter, we have to pass callback function which will run after we get data. And we also get data and status as parameter. Now let's simply console.log this data and status. Save this and take a look. See, here we get array of users and status is success. So in this function, you can do whatever you want to. You can display this data using loop on our web page or anything. Possibilities are limitless, just you have to think. Now let's see how to use post method. So post method is usually used to send data. So I just write here $.post. Now can you guess what will the first argument? Right, it's API URL. So I simply paste the same API and just change users to post, which is used to add new post. Now previously we had callback function at second argument, but here we add data as second parameter. This data is depend on API. Different API have different data. So object with title, this is title, and body to this is body. And at last we have to pass callback function. So I just copy it from get method and paste it here. Save the changes and take a look. See, here we get this data with 101 post ID and status is success. So this is how Ajax works in jQuery. Nowadays, we use fetch API method which is even easier than this. I just want to show you Ajax in jQuery. But you can use whatever you want to, it totally depends on you. Now it's time to learn something more exciting, which is every web developer must learn, and that is website animation on scroll. Look how beautiful this website looks when we add animation on scroll. So I gave this project website in source folder, so you can directly practice this animation on this website. This project I created when I was working on HTML and CSS course, but I stopped that course creation for some time and just focusing on the YouTube tutorials. I open this project and run this index.html file with live server. So let's understand the logic of this animation. So when we scroll the web page, when this section will show up, then we have to display that section with animation. So here we have to perform just two steps. First, we have to identify on which point this content will show. And second, we have to add animation for that content. So the first question is how we can identify the content. So for that, we use one jQuery plugin called waypoints. And for adding animations, we use library called animate.js. This library has almost 100 styles of animations. So our both problems is solved. Now let's see this in the code. So first of all, we have to add 3 CDN links for this. First one is for jQuery, then for waypoints, and then for animate.css. So first, search jQuery CDN. Open this first link and go for this minified CDN. Copy this and at the end of body, paste it. Now back to browser and search for waypoint CDN and open this CDN.js link. Now make sure you copy this jQuery.waypoints.js CDN link. Now after the jQuery CDN, paste this CDN link. Now again back to browser and search Animate CSS. Open this first link and in installation and usage section, you get this CDN link. Copy this and paste it in the head section. Now for writing jQuery code, we have to create one JS file. So I create one folder called JS and in this folder, create a new file called script.js. Now let's link this file with our index.html file. So after the waypoint CDN link, we add script with source and here js/script.js. Save this and back to script.js file. Here we add $document.ready and inside this we add function. So our setup is done. Now let's see about animation. Let's say first we want to add animation on this table of content title. So in the HTML file, we have to give this element class or ID so we can select the specific element by using that. So I give here class equals to table of content title. Save this and in the script.js file, we write $.tableofcontent title .waypoint and in that we have to pass one function which will run when this element reaches to the top of the page. Now inside this function, we write code for our animation. Basically what we want to do when this element reaches to the top. So for now, I just write console.log reach to top. Save this and take a look. Open console and scroll the page. See, when this title reaches to the top, we get that message. So the waypoint is working. Now let's add animation for that. So on animate.css website, from here you can select the different types of animations and when we hover over them, then you can get the copy icon. Now here, I want this fade in left animation. So copy that animation class name. And in script.js file, we write here $.tableofcontent title.add class. And first of all, we have to write here animate _animated class, because without that, any animation will not work. And after that, we just paste our animation. Save the changes and take a look. Scroll this page and when this title reaches to the top, see, we can see the animation. But here is a one problem. When we don't reach to the top, then this title is still visible. So we have to hide it first. So in this styles folder, open this style.css file. At the end, I write one comment, style for animation. And for class table of content title, we made opacity to 0. And after that, for class table of content title dot animate double underscore animated, we make the opacity to 1. This is the class we added first in our add class method. Save this and take a look. See, first it is not visible, then we reach to top, then this animation runs. Now here is one last issue, which is this: we want to see the animation when the title reaches to half of the screen or just at the beginning to show. So for that, in this waypoint function, we have to pass second parameter, which is object, and in that object, we have one property called offset, and in double quotes, pass 50 to 80%, whatever you like. Save this and take a look. See, when the title reaches to 80% to the top, then this animation will run. So you can see how simple it is to apply this animation. Now I want you to try this same animation of these 3 main titles. Pause the video and try to solve this, and after that, you can watch the solution. So for these titles, I have already given them IDs. So I duplicate this code, and at the place of this class, we add has intro, and here also has intro. Save this, and in style.css, we have to add the same style for the ID intro. So we add here comma and add intro, and here also intro dot animate double underscore animated. Save this and take a look. See, we get this animation. Now here in the script.js file, I create one variable let offset for this offset object. So cut this and paste it here. Now simply write here offset, and here as well remove this object and add offset. See, now our code looks better. Now I don't want to bore you by showing each and every animation for this project. You can try that by yourself. So just real quick, I add all animation for this project except this links animation, because we have to add here delay for this last 2 links. So for that delay, we have to give each link unique class or ID. So in the HTML file, here for list item, hold Alt in Windows and Option in Mac, and create multiple cursor by clicking, and write class to list underscore link underscore 1. Now press escape and change this to 2 and this one for 3. Save this, and in script.js file, I copy the animation of this title, and at the end, I paste it. Now just change the selector, so dot list link 1, and here also dot list link 1, and in animation, I want fade in right. Now duplicate this code 2 more times and change the selectors. List link 2, list link 2, and list link 3, list link 3. Save these, and in style.css file, we do the same for these 3 classes. Save these and take a look. Now you might ask, where is the delay? So for delay, in style.css file, we add .list link to and animation delay to 0.15 second. Now duplicate this style and change for list link 3 and delay to 0.3 second. Save the changes and take a look. See, we get this amazing animation for each link. And by this animation, user will know there are individual links. so you can see how simple and easy it is to add animation on scrolling. Just you have to understand the logic. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this jQuery course, and I hope you learned a lot from this. In the description box, you also get the cheat sheet for jQuery, so you can revise it whenever you want to. In my suggestion, jQuery is really simple and easy to use. Just you have to practice it in 2 to 3 projects, and then you become a master of that. If you really learned something from this tutorial, please press the like button and leave a comment. It will give me the inspiration for create more amazing and easy to learn tutorials. If you want tutorial on another topic, then also let me know in the comment section. So that's it for today. Goodbye and all the best for the future.